Good morning. My name is Eliana Rachmanovna. I am teacher of English of Technical College of Glubokaya. I'm going to analyze my lesson plan for the first course. On the first slide, you see the theme of the lesson is taken from the curriculum designed for technical and technological directions. The title of the unit is Work and Inventions. The theme of the lesson is investigating the world of digital devices. Also, you can see the composition of the group. There are 5 students with high level of English proficiency and 3 students with low level of English proficiency. Learning outcomes correspond to the curriculum. Learning outcomes is to have reading and listening skills for creative and collaborative problem solving in groups. At the lesson, we can use only one receptive skill and one productive skill. I highlighted reading because it is effective to use one receptive skill on the lesson. Reading is a receptive skill. Through reading, learners receive information. Mainly on my lesson, I emphasized more reading skill and use problem-solving method based on the text. Collaborative problem solving is in groups is a productive skill. Students use the received information from the text orally by solving a given problem. On my lesson, it is discussing about life without the internet. The objectives of the lesson fully correspond to the learning outcomes by implementing different tasks to assess students' achievements on the lesson, such as students will be able to identify specific information and details of the text about the internet and talk and discuss about the ways of your life without the internet using topic vocabulary. The objectives of the lesson are formulated in SMART format. On the lesson, I apply SMART techniques to assess the students based on learning outcomes. Assessment criteria is specific because the students learn one specific topic. In my case, it's about the internet. Assessment criteria is measurable because various tasks are measured to achieve our goal and make sure that students are making progress. Assessment criteria is achievable because differentiated tasks help all students to achieve the aim of the lesson. Assessment criteria is relevant because the tasks are based on learning outcomes. And assessment criteria is time-bound because all tasks are limited by time. The next slide. To achieve learning outcomes, I use different methods. Here you can see the method analysis. In order to contribute to achievement of learning outcomes, I used 3 stages of a reading lesson. They are pre-reading, while reading, and post-reading stages. In pre-reading stage, I use methods such as small group brainstorming, pre-teaching, blocking vocabulary, matching, concept checking questions, phonetic drills. In while reading stage, I use methods like scanning reading, find and underline the word from the text, and find a factual mistake. And in post-reading stage, I use methods like speaking, think, pair, share, whole group feedback. While using this method, students understand and identify details of the text about the internet and present their ideas through the solving a given problem. I will use these methods because using different methods helps help involve all students in the learning process. The next slide is method analysis. Here I'd like to demonstrate one of the above methods I have chosen. It is a method of pre-teaching blocking vocabulary. I use this method at pre-reading stage. Now, this method corresponds to learning outcomes, which is to have reading and listening skills for creative and collaborative problem solving in group. The method pre-teaching blocking vocabulary has 3 stages. They are presenting, concept checking questions, and phonetic drills. To know the critical vocabulary will be necessary in while reading and post-reading stages in the discussion, because without knowing it will be difficult for students to understand and to talk about it. At the first stage, I present words of blocking vocabulary by matching with the definitions. If students don't know blocking vocabulary, the content of the text will be hard for intensive reading. Also, I use the program Word Wall to interest them more. During this task, learners work individually and they can check for self-assessment. If we're talking about less able learners, they are given more thinking time working individually. Then they check and compare answer learning from each other. While doing students with a low level of English proficiency can understand a meaning of these words through definitions and pictures. The second stage is concept checking questions method. This method helps me determine if students understand the words. How I used the concept checking question at the lesson. First, I come up with CCQs in advance depending on the topic and level of my group. I ask simple questions, and it helps students to understand these questions and answer. Questions are formulated simply, which only be answered by yes or no, or 50-50 chance. And it doesn't create much discomfort for low achievers. At the third stage, I cover as many students as possible. I ask questions and start asking questions as many students as possible. This method supports the learning of students in according to individual needs. In this way, I am involving all the students in the process. Also take student. They are performers. I can ask them firstly by showing pictures until I get the desired result and the students understand the material. I'm not going to use unfamiliar vocabulary because it must be difficult for low motivated learners. Considering all these points, I can say that taking into account individual needs, I involve all students in process and we will achieve our learning outcomes. As for phonetic drills, in this method, I also cover as many students as possible. When learners pronounce the vocabulary in chorus to specific students and then individual by teacher assistants. This method can help learners to improve their pronunciation, thereby facilitating communication skills, and in particular, low performers become more confident. This next slide. Now, let me introduce the next slide. It is task analysis. A task analysis is related to the task to find factual mistakes in sentence from the text. These tasks meet this assessment criteria. The task corresponds to the first assessment criteria to identify specific information and details about the internet. While doing this task, learners read and identify details of the text about the internet. For corresponding the individual education needs of students, this task will be done in different ways. You can see on this slide, learners with low level of English proficiency do this task with the help of numbers of text paragraphs. Learners with this support can be oriented where they should look for and answering. This task involves them to study working in pairs, in group. They present their answers to each other and compare and correct. Less able learners can rely on indicate paragraph numbers provided with answers to questions, and some words may be used in their discussion in the post-reading stage. And the last slide, I would like to present my thought about functional literacy. In this lesson, I used single, static, and continuous text, the internet. It contributes to the development of reading literacy as students read in order to find factual mistakes for completing task. The task is to find a factual mistake is in the sentences of the text. This task contributes to the development of functional literacy. When the students read the text in order to find factual mistakes, they comprehend the literal minimum sentence, represent or retrieve information within the text, and find mistakes. Also, students develop sub-skills such as reading for specific information, intensive reading, scanning. Functional literacy is guided by assessment criteria and realized through reading tasks. Thank you for your attention.